Okay, let's unpack this. You've shared with us some truly fascinating material from Harlan Wick's The CrossFit Experiment. It's rooted in Ashley County, which you mentioned holds a special significance for you, kind of like it did for Charles Portis.
Right.
And, for anyone maybe not familiar, Portis was just a master of that Southern voice, that wry humor, grounding these eccentric characters in really rich detail. You can feel that authenticity here.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That comparison feels spot on.
And you also mentioned something interesting about, writing a book, how it's complicated, definitely, but also fun. The rewrites, new ideas popping up, just keeping track of it all.
Yeah,
Well, after diving deep into this Harlan Wicks material, we can totally see that. The layers, the details, it really brings this world to life.
indeed. And
Yeah.
what's really striking, I think, is how the narrative itself almost becomes this meta commentary on documenting things. You've got Harlan Wicks, the engineer,
Oh,
right?
right, the logical one.
Exactly. He lands in this world that just resists easy labels.
Right.
And his journey reflects that whole process you mentioned, trying to shape all these scattered observations into something coherent, but also wonderfully absurd. The whole universe you've given us here.
So our mission for this deep dive, then, is really to explore that world you've crafted. We want to pull out the most important nuggets, the key insights from Harlan Witz's journey.
Mm-hmm.
We'll look at how CrossFit actually functions, the characters that make it tick, and this fascinating interplay between fact, fiction, local legend, and how your story weaves it all together.
Precisely. We'll dig into how this outsider, this really methodical engineer, tries to impose his sense of order on a town that basically runs on its own quirky logic.
And how the town starts changing him.
That's the fascinating part. It's a journey right into the heart of a place where truth is, let's say, a remarkably flexible concept. It's shaped more by stories and belief than, hard data.
Okay, so just to set the scene, you've given us these excerpts from Harlan Wick's The CrossFit Experiment. It follows Harlan Wicks, fresh engineering grad, arriving in this Arkansas mill town, CrossFit, back in 1934.
Right, the Depression era.
His job, help build a new paper mill? Sounds straightforward, orderly,
Deceptively so.
because he finds out pretty quickly that CrossFit isn't just industry, it's like this living thing with its own rules, often totally illogical rules.
And we see this through his ledger entries, right? He's meticulous, but you can feel him getting more and more bewildered.
Ah, yeah.
It gives us this unique window into the community, the industries, characters like Cap Gates, General Beauregard. We'll definitely get to him.
Well, we have to.
And this whole culture of tall tales, pranks, this almost religious reverence for local legends. It's really a remarkable study in how human systems can just absorb the illogical, even embrace it, and make it work somehow.
It starts right from the beginning, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The tone is set immediately. Wicks, Mr. Order and Systems, gets this letter.
Yeah, on paper described as thick enough to roof a barn, instantly telling you something's different here.
From the CrossFit Lumber Company. It mentions a new venture in wood utilization. Okay, engineer brain activated. Sounds interesting, challenging.
But then you look closer at the letter, that's where the real foreshadowing kicks in.
Right, the signature. EW Cap Gates, mill manager, and typed underneath.
Blind in one eye and couldn't half see out the other. Incredible detail.
And then the handwritten note, paper is lumber and thinner clothes, come see.
It's just perfect. It's not just a job offer. It's like an invitation into this other reality.
Where facts are, maybe, suggestions.
Exactly. Where vision is more about foresight than actual eyesight. It sets up CrossFit's unique way of knowing things. It's epistemology right from the start.
So that core tension is there immediately. Wicks's logical mind versus CrossFit's charming eccentricity.
And that line, paper is lumber and thinner clothes. It's more than just clever. It hints at transformation, finding value where you didn't expect it. It pops up again and again.
And to really appreciate the contrast, we get a picture of Wicks's life before CrossFit, which sounds, well, incredibly predictable.
Almost painfully so. Sharpening pencils just right, measuring stresses, calculating loads.
Lunch at noon. Sharp, ledger balanced, every time.
He liked systems, gears meshing, valves opening and closing on time. Very precise. He was even earmarked as a project engineer, trusted with clipboards.
The ultimate symbol of order. It really sets him up as the perfect straight man for the chaos to come. His whole world is built on predictable outcomes.
And that description is so crucial, isn't it? Understanding that almost mechanical routine helps us grasp how profound his transformation will be later on.
Yeah, you need that baseline.
His mom warns him about swamp and snake country. He kind of shrugs it off. Landlady raises the rent. Fine, whatever. He's just focused on the job.
Packs his essentials. Ledger, slide rule, pressed trousers.
Symbols of his orderly world. All about to get seriously challenged, bent out of shape, maybe even improved in a weird way.
It makes his eventual acceptance, or maybe his absorption into Crossett's absurdity, feel more earned, more believable.
It's great character setup, establishing him so clearly against this backdrop that's about to shift under his feet. You really get how jarring Crossett must have been for him.
Even the journey there is loaded with meaning. The train ride, it's like a mini chapter in itself.
Right. He boards the Sunshine Special, very modern, new air conditioning.
70 degrees in the sunshine when it's 100 in the shade. He marvels at the tech.
But then he immediately makes that observation.
Technological bubble equals 70 degrees. Outside reality equals 100 degrees. Possible metaphor. Back, right there.
It's not just casual observation. It's his engineering mind already analyzing, looking for patterns, for deeper implications, even before he arrives.
And that's such a key theme, isn't it? That contrast.
Absolutely. It sets the stage perfectly. Inside the train, this sealed, comfortable, controlled environment. Outside.
Arkansas during the Depression. Drought-stricken fields, cotton stalks like skeletons. The poorest state. Raw reality.
It forces him and us to confront that disconnect. It foreshadows Crossett itself, this ambitious engineered project set against and within this much wilder, harsher reality.
The technological bubble versus outside reality, that definitely echoes through the whole story.
It really does. It defines Crossett's strange kind of efficiency. And you have to wonder, don't you, how often we all live in our own little 70-degree bubbles while it's 100 degrees just outside the window.
So he's got this metaphor brewing in his mind, but the journey itself shifts gears quite literally. He has to change trains.
Yeah, from the relatively plush Sunshine Special to the somewhat less elegant Ashley Drew and Northern Railway, the AD&N.
Not exactly the Orient Express.
No, described as freight with a caboose for passengers. Pure utility.
And he gets that warning from the boy, don't sit in the middle of the car, you'll get the slack.
Which turns out to be very practical advice.
What does that shift, that freight over comfort experience, tell us about Crossett's priorities?
Well, that jolt he gets when the slack runs out like a whip, it's a physical lesson, isn't it?
Definitely sounds like one.
Passenger comfort, subordinated to freight priority. His own ledger note. It shows that in this world, the primary purpose, hauling logs, lumber, dictates everything else. Comfort is secondary.
So the train itself embodies Crossett's whole approach. Practical, maybe a bit rough, but it gets the job done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The AD&N was built cheap, following the land, not forcing it into straight lines, utilitarian. It's stripping away Wicks's expectations layer by layer, preparing him for a town where results often matter more than the conventional way of doing things.
And even before he physically arrives in Crossett, the legend starts swirling. He's hearing these tales.
Oh, yeah. The log pond connected straight to the Gulf of Mexico. Cows just wandering down Main Street like they own the place.
And Wicks, bless his logical heart, just assumes they're kidding, pulling his leg.
Until he finds out later they were only slightly exaggerating, which is maybe even weirder than them lying.
Right. What does that mean, slightly exaggerating? It introduces this whole different relationship with truth.
That's where Crossett's unique identity really starts to take shape. It's not a place where facts are, sacred cows. Pardon the pun.
Ah, nicely done.
That slightly exaggerating bit is key. It's not necessarily deceitful. It's more like narrative flavor, embellishment for effect. Maybe it builds community. Maybe it just makes life more interesting.
It sets the stage for a town where stories have real weight. Maybe more weight than documented facts.
Definitely. It signals immediately that you're entering a world where oral tradition, local myth, that's the real operating system.
Right.
A huge contrast to Wicks's ledger-bound reality. Makes you think about the stories we tell ourselves, doesn't it? How many are just slightly exaggerated?
And then General Beauregard arrives on the scene, or rather, Wicks arrives in his scene.
Ah, the general. Where do you even begin?
This bantam rooster. With, and I love this description, the dignity of a general and the schedule of a drunkard.
Perfect. He crows at 3:15 a.m., 5 p.m., 10 p.m., and basically any other time he feels like it.
And the town doesn't try to silence him or ignore him. They adjust.
They adjust. Wicks notes it down. Town ruled by ghoul clocks. Whistle and rooster. Whistle for order. Rooster for truth.
That's just brilliant. What does Beauregard represent?
He's more than just a quirky detail. He's the living symbol of Crossett's orderly disorder. He fundamentally challenges Wicks's understanding of time, authority, logic. everything.
The idea that his random crowing provides truth, even when it's objectively incorrect by the clock.
It's profound. It shows how communities can build their own functional realities by adapting to anomalies rather than trying to eliminate them. It raises real questions about what truth even means in this context.
So Beauregard becomes the central metaphor. His random consistency is accepted as a form of truth.
Exactly. It's a testament to the town's ability to integrate the unexpected,
Yeah.
the anomaly, right into its daily rhythm. It's Crossett's unique logic in action.
So Wicks finally arrives. It's dusk. He sees the smokestacks, the new chemical plant, gets that smell of pine resin and ambition.
A potent combination.
And he clocks it immediately. This is a company town in the purest sense. The company owns the houses, the stores, the bank,
Even the cows, apparently. It's a totally self-contained ecosystem.
like a world unto itself.
The narrative paints it vividly. Layout platted like blueprints, mills running like lungs, people living on lumber time. It's all Cap Gates's vision made real. Industry and life completely intertwined.
Even social interactions seem governed by the company structure, like that warning at the Rose Inn.
Right. Don't argue algebra with them, meaning the teachers living upstairs. It instantly shows you these different pockets within the system, each with its own rules and sensitivities.
It sets the stage perfectly. It explains why CrossFit can operate on its own unique frequency, because everything is connected back to the company, its culture, its dual clocks. You need that foundation to understand what comes next.
It really makes you think about the dynamics of places where one entity controls almost every aspect of life. How does that shape people, communities?
Wicks checks into the Rose Inn, described as CrossFit's declaration of civility. But the description sounds more like ordered chaos.
That's a good way to put it. It's striving for respectability, but it's alive with Crossett's unique energy.
You've got men playing checkers on a cypress knee slab.
Salesmen lugging these massive suitcases.
And those teachers upstairs, like their own little academic society, but also apparently quite percussive, banging on the floor when Beauregard crows.
It paints us a vivid picture. The inn is Crossett in miniature. You've got the photos of the suspiciously similar champion pines.
Right. Like maybe they're all the champion pine.
Could be the checkerboard, the amphitheater out back that hosts fiddlers, preachers, and sometimes just cows.
As you do.
It shows a community creating its own entertainment, its own rituals, and the teachers trying to maintain their intellectual order with algebra and piano practice.
Only to be constantly interrupted by the rooster.
Exactly. Even formal learning has to bend to the town's dominant rhythm. It's this wonderful mix of the quaint, the structured, and the utterly unpredictable. It really demonstrates that richness of detail you mentioned about writing all these elements working together.
And at the center of much of this seems to be Cap Gates, his vision, despite the compromised eyesight.
Or maybe because of it. Maybe he sees things others don't.
He lays out his philosophy to Wicks. We've got to turn what we can't saw into something people can use. Hence the chemical mill, and now paper. Paper is just lumber and thinner clothes.
Such a great line. Simple, evocative, practical.
And then there's his unit of measure, the bazillion.
Ah, the bazillion. Classic Cap Gates.
His explanation is pure genius. You tell people 84 million a year, they forget. You tell them bazillion a day, they remember.
It's not about math. It's about impact. Communication. Inspiration.
It ties right back into that idea of stories being more powerful than raw data in CrossFit.
Absolutely. Cap gets it. He understands narrative. He knows how to motivate people, how to make big ideas feel immediate and memorable, even if the numbers are, shall we say, approximate.
He's the architect of the town's pragmatic absurdity. His waste is sin philosophy drives the industry.
And his bazillion approach drives the morale, the belief. He leads through a kind of poetic license. It's fundamental to how CrossFit operates. Makes you think about leadership, doesn't it? Sometimes the best way to communicate isn't the most precise way.
Cap takes Wicks on a tour. Main Street described almost like an engineer's diagram, very structured. Rose Inn, bank, Masonic Lodge post office, mercantile, orderly.
But then
Then there are the cows, just wandering down Main Street like citizens, a constant quirky counterpoint to the planned layout.
and Mrs. Reynolds' comment, they know the whistle better than the men.
Which says a lot.
It really highlights that blend. Again, industrial order meets natural integration. The cows aren't just animals. Wicks calls them citizens, a circulatory system, even security systems in his ledger.
Security systems.
Well, maybe they notice things strangers wouldn't, or their presence deters mischief. It's left a bit ambiguous, adding to the charm.
So nature and industry are completely tangled up. Even the livestock follow the town signals.
It's a subtle but powerful detail. It reinforces Crosset's unique character where everything, even the cattle, seems to have a role in this intricate, self-made system. It constantly challenges Wicks's ideas of how a town should work.
Another key location is the Mercantile. Sounds like a classic company store, very multifunctional.
A fried egg and a sack of nails at the same counter. Practicality above all.
But the detail that really jumps out is the lemonade.
Ah, yes. The infamous Crosset lemonade.
Sometimes it tastes faintly of turpentine, sometimes it's just mysteriously sour this week.
And the running joke about it putting hair on your slide rule.
Which is quite an image for an engineer like Wicks. It seems like this ongoing, accepted little deception.
It's a symbol, isn't it, of Crosset's playful side, maybe its slightly deceptive side, and definitely its initiation rites.
An initiation? How so?
Well, it's this harmless prank, really. Everyone seems in on it except the newcomer. It becomes this tradition passed down, maybe even evolving into rumors of diluted methanol.
It's grief.
Though likely just rumors. But it shows how these small, everyday bits of weirdness get embedded in the culture. It's a shared experience, a test almost. Can you handle the ambiguity? Can you laugh it off?
It highlights that playful, maybe misleading approach to just the daily life there.
Yeah.
And makes Wicks, the literalist, the perfect target.
Exactly. It's a key example of the town's culture, encouraging you to just accept the absurdity. It provides ongoing amusement for the locals and a great way for the narrative to show Wicks slowly adapting, or trying to.
And the lemonade isn't the only prank. Crosset seems to thrive on them. Wicks, with his literal mind, is described as an easy mark.
Poor Wicks. But it's all part of his education.
You've got the annual crawfish regatta, the perpetual motion saw, tales of cows sorting pulpwood. They sound hilarious, but also strangely plausible in the context of Crosset.
That's the beauty of it. These pranks, they're more than just jokes. They're like Crosset's informal curriculum.
Teaching what? How to be less logical.
Kind of. Teaching you to question assumptions, to embrace the possibility of the illogical, to not take everything at face value.
Like the story about Cap Gates's glass eye.
Right. The salesman whispers it's made of Crosset glass. Then an older guy corrects him. No glass involved. Both stories circulate. Both are, in a way, true within Crosset's system.
Because consensus isn't required.
Exactly. As the text notes, consensus not required. Story repetition equals truth by density. Just telling a story often enough gives it a life, a reality, regardless of facts. Superstition's rampant.
It speaks volumes about shared belief versus verifiable fact.
It really does. These pranks and superstitions constantly chip away at Wicks's scientific worldview. They force him to adapt to a reality where logic is often optional and belief holds immense power. It really deepens that idea of the complicated nature of storytelling you mentioned. These aren't just quirky details, they're the foundation of the town's character.
So the town smells of pine, but then in 1934, a new smell arrives. Sharper, more medicinal.
Enter the Crosset Chemical Company. Cap Gates's next big thing.
Turning waste stumps, scraps into valuable stuff. Charcoal, acetic acid, methanol.
The waste is sin. Philosophy in action again. Classic Crosset ingenuity.
But the smell, the foreman called it future prosperity, which shows that Crosset optimism, right? Even if the air quality is compromised.
That's a great observation. It marks a big shift for Crosset, industrially. And that sensory detail, the smell, makes it really vivid.
It embodies Cap's whole ethos. Transform the useless into the useful, drive progress.
But that contrast, the compromised air versus the intact optimism that's pure Crosset too, it's that pragmatic acceptance of trade-offs.
Yeah.
Progress and profit sometimes come at a cost, and the town seems to accept that trade-off, weaving this new industry smell and all into its identity.
It shows Crosset isn't just quirky folklore, it's also this hub of real industrial innovation driven by Cap, which just makes it even harder for Wicks to categorize.
Absolutely. It's simultaneously forward-thinking and deeply strange.
Then another new element arrives. Russell R. Reynolds, a forester from Michigan.
A different kind of expert. He's not there to cut trees, but to manage them.
Introducing this idea of sustained yield, which sounds very modern, very scientific.
It was revolutionary for the time, especially in the South, moving from pure extraction to long-term resource management.
And how does Cap Gates handle this potentially disruptive new idea?
With genius PR, basically. He immediately reframes it in familiar Crosset terms. He tells Wicks, "We're not cutting trees, Wicks. We're cultivating board feet."
Cultivating board feet. Brilliant. Makes it sound like farming, like growth, which fits the local mindset better than some abstract scientific term.
Precisely. He knows his audience. He translates the new idea into the existing value system,
But not everyone buys it immediately. There's skepticism. That guy in the mercantile.
muttering, "Replanting's a Yankee trick." Perfect. It captures that ingrained resistance to outside ideas, that cultural conservatism you often find.
So even with Cap's spin, there's this tension. Progress versus tradition.
It's a compelling dynamic. Reynolds brings in this scientific logic, sustainability. It clashes with the old ways, but Cap mediates it with clever language. It just adds another layer to Crossett's adaptive, sometimes contradictory nature.
And naturally, General Beauregard has to get involved in the new chemical plant somehow.
Of course he does. The narrative wouldn't be complete otherwise.
He's apparently taken to perching on the railings, strutting like he owned the place.
Just observing, inspecting, doing his roosterly duty.
But the workers take it further. They claim his loud crowing once saved us from an explosion,
A feathered safety alarm.
or that his feathers change color depending on what the plant is producing. Black for charcoal, red for methanol.
Like a living, breathing, industrial indicator.
He's become a safety device and a diagnostic tool.
He's just a wonderful expansion of his myth. He's not just a town clock anymore. He's woven into the fabric of its most modern industry.
It shows how the community just integrates its folklore, its heroes, into everything, even chemical processes.
It's belief over evidence, time and time again. The claims are unverified, but they become widely accepted. That's the key to Crossett's operating system. Perceived influence is real influence.
So the absurd gets imbued with practical meaning. Myth becomes a coping mechanism, maybe, or just how
Yep.
things work there.
Exactly. It serves a purpose,
Yeah.
even if that purpose isn't strictly logical.
This culminates beautifully in that scene at the amphitheater. The debate. Resolved! Waste is sin!
Reynolds arguing for it, his opponents showing up with bottles of turpentine, which is quite a statement.
The audience is divided. Arguments, charts, passion, deadlock.
Until General Beauregard crows from the rafter.
And the crowd just roars. Approval for Reynolds. Debate over. Done.
A chicken decides the outcome of a major policy debate.
It's Crossett's decision-making process in a nutshell. Rational argument hits a wall, and then this unpredictable event, the rooster's crow, becomes the deciding vote. It shows this deep acceptance of the random, maybe even a trust in some kind of higher or at least louder authority.
Perhaps. Or maybe it's just an efficient way to break a stalemate. Why argue endlessly when the rooster can settle it? It's absurdly efficient, as the text says.
It reinforces Beauregard's incredible symbolic power. He's like a proxy for consensus, even if it's pure chance.
It really highlights those unique political and social dynamics. Shared belief, or maybe just shared acceptance of the random, triumphs over logical debate.
Wicks doesn't just stay in town, though. He ventures out into the piney woods around Crossett, still looking for truth.
Still trying to apply his logic, I think, and finding more absurdity.
Like the boy in the bottoms who guides him by following the cows for a nickel,
Practical swamp navigation.
and points to a stump where a man supposedly turned sideways and vanished, just poof.
Normal occurrence, apparently.
Then up in the hills, the farmer's mule that answers 2 + 2 by stomping 5 times.
Explained away as inflation, of course.
Wicks's ledger notes are priceless here. Swamp geometry, non-Euclidean, arithmetic standards flexible. He's trying so hard to categorize it.
These trips are crucial because they show this isn't just Crosset. This way of thinking, this blend of folklore and perceived reality, it permeates the whole of Ashley County.
It's not an isolated bubble, it's the regional reality.
Exactly. The cows as guides, the vanishing man, the inflationary mule, these aren't just jokes to the locals. They're part of how the world works. Wicks's notes capture how folklore becomes functional, even if it defies science or math.
It expands the scope, showing Wicks's logical framework is constantly bumping up against this deeply ingrained cultural acceptance of the fantastic.
It reinforces that his struggle isn't just with one town, but with a whole worldview.
We also get Beauregard's origin story, which is naturally wonderful.
Ties it all together. He wasn't hatched in Crosset.
No, Cap Gates adopted him from the Hamburg courthouse back in 1912. The judge couldn't stand the crowing anymore.
But Cap saw potential. He saw a leader.
Only Cap Gates would see leadership potential in an annoying rooster.
And then Cap's commentary on it all. Truth's just error repeated long enough.
That hits hard. What a philosophy.
It's foundational, isn't it? It roots Beauregard's myth in something real, but immediately twists it with Cap's worldview. Leadership through confident error.
Truth's just error repeated long enough. That could be Crossett's motto.
It's almost an epistemology of error. It explains the whole system, how stories gain traction through repetition, how belief solidifies into accepted fact.
And the fact that Hamburg still claims him. He only runs his crowing south.
Just adds another layer. Makes the legend bigger, gives it regional significance, creates this playful rivalry.
So the origin story anchors the myth, but Cap's interpretation gives it that philosophical weight. It shows how mundane events get transformed into foundational stories.
The power of storytelling and reinterpretation in action.
And Beauregard's influence just grows and grows. He becomes the town's second clock. He's an ambassador at the county fair.
From stray rooster to civic institution.
And decades later, that 5 a.m. crow is being imitated over the plywood mill loudspeaker. It's become an official, essential shift alarm.
Efficiency disguised as humor. Perfect cross it.
It shows how deep the myth runs, doesn't it? From folklore to formal procedure.
Absolutely. It ensures industrial continuity. And the detail that the men relied on Beauregard's crow, real or imitated, even more than the actual whistle.
That says it all. Belief trumps the official system.
It shows how the social and industrial gears really mesh in Crosset. Tradition, humor, belief, they're as crucial as schedules and machines. It's a practical application of a legend.
So fast forward to 1976, Wicks returns for the bicentennial.
Finds the plywood mill is now a temple of layered strength. Nice imagery there.
And the intercom crow, still going strong, a beloved tradition.
Though the quality varies. Nasal, sometimes enthusiastic, occasionally drunken.
But always expected. It's become a ritual.
Efficiency disguised as ritual. It shows the incredible staying power of these myths. The rooster call is institutionalized. It's part of the town's identity.
And tying it to patriotism. A clean shift is a patriotic shift.
Shows how local lore adapts, finds new relevance. And the reunion featuring descendants of Bessie, the civic cow.
Even the cows have a legacy.
It underscores that deep, almost genealogical sense of heritage built on these unique foundations. The myths have become rituals, integral to the town's operation and self-image. It really speaks to that complicated process of writing, how stories endure and evolve.
By the late 80s, Wicks's notebooks are overflowing. He's been observing for decades.
Weighing more than his suitcase.
And he has this incredible insight. Town memory is like plywood layers glued together, grain running opposite. Stronger is myth than fact.
Wow, that's a powerful metaphor.
It perfectly captures how collective memory works there. Not linear fact, but this layered construction, reinforced by belief and retelling.
And Beauregard. He's evolved again. No longer just a rooster or a symbol, but a lineage, an oracle.
Whose accuracy irrelevant, authority absolute.
It's the ultimate triumph of myth. Confidence over evidence. And Wicks, the man of data, is now documenting the town's liturgy, its belief system, not just its output statistics.
It feels like a real turning point for him and for the narrative. It gets right to the philosophical core, memory, myth, reality.
And his role is shifting too. He started as an observer, but the act of observing, of recording, is starting to change things, including him.
This is where it gets really wild, right? The feedback loop.
Exactly. People start telling him stories that he originally documented. But now he's the hero.
Remember when Wicks stopped the train in Monticello with his notebook? Which never happened.
But they insist. Ledger, rooster, same difference. It's all part of the town's scripture now.
And kids want to see the book that runs the town, thinking his ledger holds prophecies.
It's a pivotal moment. The chronicler becomes part of the chronicle. Myth transfer in progress.
His ledger, meant for objective facts, transforms into an oracle, a sacred text.
The community is outsourcing destiny to it. It's a profound commentary on authorship, memory, and how recording something can give it a power you never intended. The story takes on a life of its own and reshapes the storyteller. Reflects that writing complexity. Again, your creation starts to influence you.
And then the ultimate moment of, well, assimilation. The intercom crow at the mill fails.
Technology fails. What do?
They find Wicks. They need him to do the crow.
No way.
He does it, awkward but earnest. And the narrative states, Wicks's crow saved the shift.
He literally becomes Beauregard. The engineer embodies the myth.
A foreman tells him later, that's your legacy, Wicks, not paper mills or calculations, just the crow.
Wow. Ledger reduced to sound.
His entire meticulous career distilled into one awkward rooster crow.
It's incredibly powerful. He becomes that error transformed into foresight Cap talked about. By participating, he solidifies his place in the myth.
It shows how even the most logical person can be absorbed by a powerful narrative, finding a new kind of meaning.
And it's a poignant note on legacy. Sometimes it's not the grand plans, but the unexpected, symbolic act that endures in collective memory. It's the climax of his journey, full integration into Crossett's mythic structure.
So by the 2000s, those pranks Wix was the target of, they've evolved.
They're not just jokes anymore, they're permanent features.
Yeah.
Heritage.
The Crawfish Regatta is an annual festival. The Bottled Shade is actually in a museum somewhere.
Incredible.
The cow compass demonstration still happens, even though the compass never materializes.
Pranks hardened into heritage. Tourism thrives on error. That sums it up perfectly.
It shows the ultimate endpoint, doesn't it? The lines are completely gone.
Totally blurred. Crossett did not distinguish between fact and prank. And the fact that the Rose Inn itself might be gone, but it lives on as a performance in memory.
It proves the story is more real, more permanent than the physical place.
Exactly. The narrative is the structure.
Yeah.
It shows how effectively those recurring motifs, the cows, the rooster, the pranks, were woven in, allowed to grow and change meaning over time, becoming the town's very identity.
It's the ultimate testament to Crossett's unique culture, where myth is reality.
And a testament to the power of a well-told, deeply layered story.
Wow. Yeah, what an incredible journey into Crossett. Just amazing. We've seen this engineer looking for order, find this town just humming along on its own beautiful, kind of absurd logic.
From Capgate's bazillions and turning lumber into thinner clothes to General Beauregard's authoritative randomness.
It really shows a community where myth and fact just blend together into something that, against all odds, actually works.
This deep dive really hammered home how Crossett and the storytelling itself functions. That core message comes through so clearly. Error repeated became truth. Truth repeated became myth. Myth repeated became heritage.
And Wix's journey, from detached observer to becoming part of the myth.
It's a perfect illustration. It shows how stories, once they're out there, once they're repeated, just take on their own momentum. They shape how people see things, how they remember things. They become the code the community runs on.
And thinking back to what you said about writing, how it's complicated, the rewrites, the fun, keeping it all straight. This material, Harlan Wick's The Crosset Experiment, feels like such a perfect example of that process paying off.
Absolutely.
The layers, the details that keep popping up, the way the characters evolve, how this whole world gets built where, yeah, cows are citizens and roosters are basically prophets. It all feels so meticulously crafted, so alive. It really shows the work that goes into making a place like Ashley County just sing on the page.
Definitely. Creating a world where someone like Wicks, the ultimate rationalist, ends up becoming a legend himself, where his ledger becomes scripture. That speaks volumes about the writing craft. This isn't just a story you've shared. It feels like a living demonstration of those very complexities and rewards you talked about. How creation breathes this surprising, enduring life into a fictional world.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with, as you keep working on your story fragments shaping these narratives, consider Harlan Wicks. He starts out trying to pin down the truth, right?
Document everything.
But the very act of observing, of documenting, turns him into a myth. His factual ledger becomes prophecy for the people of Crosset. So for any storyteller, maybe the question is, what happens when your characters, your narratives, take on a life beyond what you first intended?
That's a great question. How do the stories we tell start to shape the reality they were supposed to just describe, like Cap Gates's eyesight status or those bazillions? The story becomes the fact.
So are we just recording when we write, especially about places with deep personal meaning like Ashley County? Or are we actually participating in creating new truths, new myths?
And how do you navigate that line, that really fascinating, often blurry line between documenting something and becoming part of its legend yourself, when your words take on a life you didn't entirely plan? Something to think about.